evening, my little angel. What does your favorite summer garden look like? After eating pears and sitting on the Villa Glass fence, Annika and Thomas were excited to play and explore Pippi's garden. Specifically, they will climb trees together. What is so fun about climbing trees? Let's find out. Pippi sits on the gate and climbs the tree. Part 2. Pippi's garden was charming. You couldn't say it was well kept, but there were wonderful grass plots never cut and old rose bushes full of white, yellow, and pink roses. Perhaps not such delicate roses, and how sweet they smelled. Many fruit trees grew there too, and best of all, several ancient oaks and elms that were excellent for climbing. The trees in Thomas and Annika's garden were not very good for climbing, and besides, their mother was always so afraid they could fall and get hurt that they had never climbed much. But now Pippi said, "Suppose we climb up this big oak tree." Thomas jumped down from the gate at once, delighted with the suggestion. Annika was hesitant, but she thought it could be fun when she saw that the trunk had nubbly places to climb on. And few feet above the ground, the oak divided into 2 branches, and right there was the place that looked just like a little room. Before long, all 3 children were sitting there. Over their heads, the oak spread out its crown like a great green roof. "We could drink coffee here," said Pippi. "I'll skip in and make a little." Thomas and Annika clapped their hands and shouted, "Bravo!" In a while, Pippi had the coffee ready. She had made buns the day before. She came and stood under the oak and began to toss up coffee cups. Thomas and Annika caught them, only sometimes it was the oak that caught them, and so 2 cups were broken. Pippi ran in to get new ones. Next, it was the buns' turn, and the air was full of flying buns for a while. At least they didn't break. At last, Pippi climbed up with a coffee pot in one hand. She had cream in a little bottle in her pocket and sugar in a little box. Thomas and Annika thought coffee had never tasted so good before. They were not allowed to drink it every day, only when they were at the party. And now they were at the party. Annika spilled a little coffee on her lap. First, it was warm and wet, then cold and damp. When they had finished, Pippi threw the cups down on the grass. "I want to see how strong the china they make these days is," she said. Strangely enough, 1 cup and 3 saucers held together, and only the spout of the coffee pot broke off. Presently, Pippi decided to climb a little higher. "Can you beat this?" she cried suddenly. "The tree is hollow." In the trunk was a big hole, which the leaves had hidden from the children's sight. "Oh, may I climb up and look too?" called Thomas. But there was no answer. "Pippi, where are you?" he cried, worried. Then they heard Pippi's voice, not from above but way down below. It sounded as if it came from under the ground. "I'm inside the tree. It is hollow clear down to the ground. If I peek through a little crack, I can see the coffee pot outside on the grass." "Oh, how will you get up again?" cried Annika. "I'm never coming up," said Pippi. "I will stay here until I retire and get a pension. And you'll have to throw my food down through the hole up there 5 or 6 times a Annika began to cry.
Why be sorry? Why complain?
Said Pippi.
You come here too, and then we can play that we are pining away in a dungeon.
Never in this world, said Annika, and to be safe, she climbed right down off the tree.
Annika, I can see you through the crack,
cried Pippi.
Don't step on the coffee pot. It's an old, well-mannered coffee pot that never did anyone any harm. It can't help that it doesn't have a spout any longer.
Annika went up to the tree trunk, and through the little crack, she saw the very tip of Pippi's finger. This comforted her a good deal, but she was still worried. Pippi, can't you really get up? She asked. Pippi's finger disappeared, and in less than a minute, her face popped out of the hole in the tree. Maybe I can if I try very hard, she said, and patted the foliage with her hands. If it's as easy as all that to get up, said Thomas, who was still up in the tree, then I want to come down and pine away a little too. I think we'll get a ladder, said Pippi. She crawled out of the hole and hurried down the tree. Then she ran after a ladder, pushed it up the tree, and let it down into the hole. Thomas was wild to go down. It was difficult to climb the hole because it was so high up. But Thomas was brave, and he wasn't afraid to climb into the trunk's dark hollow. Annika watched him disappear and wondered if she would ever see him again. She peeked in through the crack.
Annika,
came Thomas' voice.
You can't imagine how wonderful it is here. You must come in too. It isn't the least dangerous when you have a ladder to climb. You never want to do anything else if you only do it once.
Are you sure? Asked Annika.
Absolutely,
said Thomas. Annika climbed up in the tree with the trembling legs again, and Pippi helped her with the last heartbeat. She drew back a little when she saw how dark it was in the tree trunk, but Pippi held her hand and kept encouraging her.
Don't be scared, Annika,
she heard Thomas say from down below.
Now I can see your legs, and I'll certainly catch you if you fall.
But Annika didn't fall. She reached Thomas safely, and a moment later, Pippi followed.
Isn't it great here?
Said Thomas. And Annika had to admit that it was. It wasn't nearly as dark as she had thought before, and the light came through the crack. She peeked through and announced that she could see the coffee pot outside on the grass.
We'll have this for our secret hiding place,
said Thomas.
Nobody will know that we are here. And if they should come and hunt around outside for us, we can see them through the crack, and we'll have a good laugh. We can have a little stick and poke it out through the crack and tickle them. And then they'll think the place is haunted,
said Pippi. At this idea, the children were so delighted that they hugged each other, all three. Then they heard the ding-dong. That meant the bell was ringing for dinner at Thomas and Annika's house.
Oh, bother,
said Thomas.
Now we have to go home, but we'll come over tomorrow when we return from school. Do that,
said Pippi. And so they climbed up the ladder, first Pippi, then Annika, and Thomas last. And then they climbed out of the tree, first Pippi, then Annika, and then Thomas last. An exciting summer morning has passed for Pippi, Annika, and Thomas. Let's go to bed early, sleep well, and wait to hear about Pippi's next interesting adventures. Today's story time is over. I wish my angel a good night's sleep. I kiss you long on your forehead. See you again next time.